paid for by the New World Order.
Oh, you didn't know?
You ready? Let's go!
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? Feed me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Big Daddy Cool Vinny Apatow, and you are listening to the most electrifying show in all of sports talk radio. You're listening to the Sportswire. And that's right, folks, today, happy 2016. Today marks the 6-year anniversary of when the Monday Night War started. And no, I'm not talking about the Monday Night War between WWE and WCW. I'm talking about the second failed Monday Night War between WWE and TNA, when Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff went over to TNA and they moved Impact to a Monday night to opposite Raw, which obviously that just could never work out. That was on January 4th, 2010. I remember that very well, very vividly, because I was watching it, flipping back and forth. It felt nostalgic. Of course, that was also that marked the return after 12 years of Bret Hitman Hart to WWE live TV as opposed to a DVD. So, just a lot of history in wrestling for today. But before we get into any of that, because we've got a huge jam-packed show for you, first off, I have to apologize. We haven't been on since the Monday before Christmas, simply because, and I'll tell you why, we were planning on doing the Christmas Eve episode. We were planning on doing that. We were planning on doing New Year's Eve, and you know, unfortunately some things happened financially where the radio station just couldn't, we just couldn't get, renew our monthly membership, quite honestly, for Christmas Eve, I know that. Unfortunately for the other two episodes, we had, our landlords downstairs had family visiting, so we had because I was on vacation, a roommate of mine was on vacation, you know, their family was here, we just didn't have the internet bandwidth to do the podcast, so I truly apologize for being off for 2 weeks, but it was a well-earned vacation, I feel. Even though, you know, I made a comment on Facebook about channeling my inner hot rod, the inner rowdy Roddy Piper. And you know what? It felt great to do that, and I'm going to keep on doing that. Because the Sportswire is a lot like Piper's Pit, where I will talk about anything under the sun, anything that comes to mind, and quite honestly, when you think you know the answers, I change the questions. Anyways, before we get into any of that, let's give a huge shout out to our sole surviving sponsor, Wayne Jones of Blackline Entertainment Music Group. After talking with Twism, I found out, and he posted it earlier this morning, Dean Wild and Stay Blessed Productions are no longer part of the Fat Cat Radio family, so we wish them well in their future endeavors, as well as Jerry Wilson from It's So Real Productions. Again, we wish them well in their future endeavors. All right. So, with that being said, let's go to God in prayer. Let's kick off the show right. Let's get it hot. Let's get it to where we got to be. All right, Father God, I want to thank you for allowing me to wake up this morning. I know that it's rough sometimes to, get up out of bed and wipe the sleep out of your eyes, and to be able to just get ready to motivate for the day. The bed is always very comfortable, wrapped up in the sheets, and just always calling your name, and that's a temptation to stay in bed. But I thank you, Father, for allowing me to have the motivation to get up, allowing me to be able to go do what I have to do, Lord, because ultimately I have to please my audience, please the Vinistry, but at the same time I have to show your love through me, Father. I pray for 2016. With 2015 in the books, Lord, I pray that 2016 is just better than ever, better than the year prior. I pray for the budding relationship that I have. It's with an ex-girlfriend of mine, as you know, Lord, and I just pray that your will is done. And I pray that you help us to please and serve each other and just to be able to get back to where we were before everything went down, Father. I want to thank you for being you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for loving all of us, Lord. I pray that the people listening could hear your love through me, and that you can easily help people change their heart and want to believe in you and follow your Son and understand that you sent your only Son, as it says in John 3:16, you sent your only Son to this world because you loved us. And you sacrificed your Son. You gave us your Son, Lord, who died on the cross and then defeated hell, defeated death. He rose from the dead. Obviously never happened before, never happened since. And I just thank you for everything you do on a daily basis for all of us, Father. And I ask all this through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, let's get to our worship song of the day, God Over Money by Bizzle, right here on the Sportswire.
Hello world.
Oh my. God Over Money, the new movement. Let's go. It's Bizzle, consider me a G-O-M-er. We the team, Christ be the king forever. They sell greed as need, but we know better. Tell the enemy that he can get an E forever. I know you got bills, dog, but we all got them. And that don't stop y'all from hitting the mall shopping. So you break the law to get what you can't afford. Cause the latest song says you're nothing unless y'all got it. That's what I call bondage, and I'm free from it. I mean, I need money, but I don't need money. Cause understand it when the famine hits and no one to sell they food, and people will see they can't eat money. I am a G-O-M-er, courtesy of G-O-D forever. It's
God over money.
and money over nothing. It only got the power that you give it when you love it. It's just paper, can't you see? It's changed us from now on. God over money. God over money. So tell me what you grind for. Little piece of paper that you live and you die for. Put your soul freedom in your life on the line for. But it's time to quit living life in the blindfold. They got you ready to murder your brethren for $1 that it only cost them 4 cents to print. It's evident we need help, but the question is, will you serve a living God or a dead president? See, the value has never been the paper. The value is in the resource that you pay for. Cause if that same resource was made free to you, it'll literally destroy what cash means to you. So how you risk your life for a paper dollar when as long as you have a life, you can make $1? But all the money in the world can't make a life. Get your money, but keep God first and make it right. I am a G-O-M-er, courtesy of G-O-D forever. It's
God over money.
and money over nothing. It only got the power that you give it when you love it. It's just paper, can't you see? It's changed us from now on. God over money. God over money. Go ahead, break the money curse. Put God at the top and stop putting money first. Putting cash first. Got a bunch of us up in hearse, leaving us with paper that won't cover up the hurt. Somebody listening now, blinded by the paper, and all this running through their mind is how I'm a hater. The truth is I ain't rich, but I'm not broke. And I done turned down deals you'd have hopped on. If the money's really worth something and we print it, then how we in a deficit? Bet you never questioned it. How's $20 worth less than $100? They the exact same thing with different numbers on them. It's just a tool that they've been using to get control. That's why they put you in a cell if you print your own. But everything, including us, they get to clone. Knock it off, you funny money, and never get us thrown. I am a G-O-M-A, courtesy of G-O-D forever. It's
God over money.
and money over nothing. It only got the power that you give it when you love it. It's just paper, can't you see? It's changed us from now on. God over money. God over money. Alright, so now you can go back and try to poke holes in what I'm saying. But after you do that, and recognize that what I'm saying is the truth, then the question is, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna change, homie? And don't let these cats gas y'all up, man. They on records talking about what they got that you ain't got, and what you ain't if you don't have this, homie. Telling you, don't let these cats tell you what successful is, dog. Real talk.
All right, and that was Bizzle with God Over Money right here on the Sportswire. And, you know, I have to say, folks, first of all, I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for tuning in to the best, the most electrifying sports show in all of sports talk radio today, the Sportswire. But, you know, I gotta apologize and have to actually let you know that it's another anniversary today. So I already told you about the second Monday Night War that started and failed within 4 months. But the other one was from January 4th, Monday, January 4th, 1998. Okay, and you can definitely understand where this is going. It's the night that the original Monday Night War, actually the momentum changed sides. And what do I mean by that? Well, in this episode, January 4th, January 4th, 1998, Mankind, also known as Mick Foley, won the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE Championship, from The Rock. Okay? Now, that's not necessarily noteworthy. But the fact is, well, it is, because Mick Foley's a WWE Hall of Famer. But the fact that's noteworthy is that it was a pre-taped episode. And the powers that be, and I use that word lightly, at WCW, chose to give away the results and said, you know, that Mick Foley is going to win their world title. And Tony Schiavone, with the shot heard around the world, that'll put some butts in the seats. At that moment, something like 300,000 or 500,000 TVs in America switched from Nitro on TNT to Raw. Now, granted, Nitro's storyline that night surrounded around Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg was getting arrested because supposedly he assaulted Miss Elizabeth, and then he came back and beat down the NWO. But which was actually wasn't that also the night that was the night that was the finger poke of doom. That's right, because Sunday prior, or 2 weeks prior, was Starrcade in '97 when Goldberg lost the title and lost his winning streak to Big Sexy Kevin Nash. I was ecstatic of that night, and then they set the rematch for tonight, the 4th in '98, and then Goldberg getting arrested. Hulk Hogan had been on hiatus for a while. He said, if you remember correctly, he had announced he was running for president in 2000. So he was on his quote-unquote campaign trail. He came back and challenged Nash for a title match. And at that point, Nash was riding high on the Wolfpack, and Hogan still had his, NWO black and white. So, lo and behold, they set up the match between Nash and Hogan. Well, Nash and Hogan went great, with the exception of The NWO reformed, which, was good. It kind of brought the core back to, 8 guys. The NWO Wolfpack, or the NWO Elite, whatever you want to call it. But it was the finger poke of doom, where Nash and Hogan were in the center ring ready to go. Hogan pokes Nash with a finger. Nash goes down, and they screw everybody. Hogan gets the title back. So, it was one of those things where they had a horrible storyline going on, but of course, because it involved the NWO, it was great. Now, I do have to, unfortunately, debunk a lot of myths, and they're not necessarily myths, but I have to rewrite history almost. If you watch the Legends of Wrestling, and this is on the WWE Network, $9.99 a month, okay, in the Vault section, there's the Legends of Wrestling. Okay, the Legends of the Round Table, whatever you want to call it. There's an episode on there about the NWO. And Kevin Nash is one of the panel members. It was Gene Okerlund who was hosting it, Kevin Nash, and Jim Ross on one side, and then Michael Hayes and J.J. Dillon on the other side. And Nash had talked about the finger poke of doom and what they were trying to accomplish at that point. What they were trying to do was that they were trying to build that heel faction to feed to Goldberg. Now, Nash, unfortunately, got his timetable screwed up. And a lot of people do around this time. Okay? Bret Hart had just come into WCW in 97. However, they were trying to build the heel group for Goldberg, which they did. But they kind of, Nash and Hogan, Nash and Lex Luger had that feud with Rey Mysterio, and where Rey Mysterio lost his mask, which I'm surprised that WCW or WWE had Mysterio put the mask on because of Mexican culture. Once you lose it, it's done. I guess Mysterio had to beg. I guess they had to have Mysterio beg to put the mask back on for their purposes. But, that's one problem with WWE. They don't necessarily follow tradition too much. But anyways, so, they had their feud with the Filthy Animals or Rey Mysterio. They had different feuds throughout the time. And the NWO at that point kind of fizzled out because it was like the NWA B Squad with Stevie Ray and Horace Hogan. Savage came back from injury. There was more tension between Hogan and Nash. So the NWO, by that point, in mid-98, basically fizzled out. Hall was back, but he still wasn't, himself. Hall and Nash as the outsiders were together. Scott Steiner and Buff Bagwell did that whole ridiculous feud with Rick Steiner and Judy Bagwell. Was that was in 99, I think, as well. That was in 99 as well. But, it's like they just, because Buff hadn't gotten his neck broken yet. That's right. But, it's like, just absolutely horrendous. Or maybe that was even earlier. I can't remember that, but I do remember this. Kevin Nash talking about Goldberg getting hurt, chasing Bret Hart out with the bat on Thunder, and then, putting his arm through the limo window. That wasn't until 99, because that was after NWO 2000 was formed, which was Kevin Nash, Jeff Jarrett, Bret Hart, can't remember if Scott Hall was there or not. Jeff Jarrett, Kevin Nash, Bret Hart, and then the Harris brothers, Ron and Don Harris, who were creative control. That was after Vince Russo went in. So that was NWO 2000. That's when that happened. So Kevin Nash, with his history, is about a year off as to why that heel faction didn't work. But, lo and behold, that is what it is. Okay, so now here we go. First of all, 20 minutes in, I'd like, again, thank you for listening. You are listening to the most electrifying show in all of sports talk radio. You're listening to Sportswire here on Fat Cat Radio, Mondays and Thursday mornings, 10 a.m. Okay, with that being said, okay, I do want to let you all know that the ways to listen to it and interact with us. First of all, it's definitely our Spreaker homepage, Spreaker.com/show/sports-wire. Okay? Secondly, Facebook, Facebook.com/SportsWireCT, Facebook.com/FatCatRadio Enterprise. You can also go to www.myfatcatradio.com and then www.swe-ct.com. You can also on Twitter, Periscope, Instagram, Foursquare, Tumblr, Tout, Pinterest, Snapchat, SWE Connecticut. Interact that way. And then on iTunes. Go to iTunes, go to podcasts, the podcast page, search Sportswire, look for our flame logo, and all you have to do is hit subscribe. That's it. Just got to hit subscribe, and every new episode of the Sportswire will be delivered directly to your listening apparatus. All right. So thank you for listening again. I really appreciate all the Vinistry tuning in to listen, because it's absolutely fantastic. So we've got a lot to talk about. Okay, being off the air for 2 weeks. We do. We've got a lot. First of all, I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. I do not say Happy Holidays because I'm Christian, and the fact is, it's a Christian nation. So Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Also, Happy New Year to everybody out there as well, because of the simple fact that, well, we went through a great 2015, and 2015 has ups and downs, and I made light of that. I not made light of that. I made put the spotlight on that in a post I did a couple days ago on Facebook. And 2015 was an up and down year. Fat Cat Radio and Sportswire were started just to have our esteemed owner and colleague Big Lou pass away in June. I know for me personally it was an up and down year. And also we have... Oh, bother. What else do we have going on? What else do we have doing? We had a lot of stuff go on this year. I mean, I know for me, obviously with the relationship with Desiree in the summer and, that whole fiasco. But you know what? A lot of that had to do with my insecurities. And that was another part of my post on I think it was Saturday that I posted it. The fact of the matter is this. Everybody had, their 2015, whether it was high or low, everybody had ups and downs. And 2015, I am so happy to say, is finally in the record books. Going into 2016, it's all about love. And that's what my message for today is. It's all about love. And I'm not talking about physical sex. I'm not talking about even relationship love. I'm talking about love for people in general. Okay? Love for your neighbor. Whether you're Christian or Jewish or Muslim or Buddhist, or it doesn't matter what religion you follow. No matter if you even believe in God or not. No matter if anything happens, and no matter what you believe in, the fact is it comes down to love. Show love for people, okay? If you're an atheist and you don't believe in God, whatever, that does not stop you from showing love to people, okay? So like I said, not only am I showing love for myself this year by changing my lifestyle, I'm going to be more active, I'm going to be healthier. My punching bag should be coming in tomorrow for, being able to just be more active. I'm going to start kickboxing again. So with that, and then I got the Wii from my son, which I have the Wii Sports Resort or something. So it's pretty cool. I get to stay active instead of sitting down. It's also about love for people. I hurt Desiree very badly back in July. And I am happy to say that since November, she's actually started talking to me again. And, the relationship is complicated at this point, so I'm not going to go too far into it and too deep into it. Plus, I don't know who's listening to it, and I don't want to open up a can of worms. But the thing is like I'm very thankful for her forgiveness of me, and the fact that she's willing and wants to be in my life and talk to me again. So that of course I'm going to show her as much love as I can. And then love for people who I've hurt, like I said, who I've hurt, but also love for people who don't want to have anything to do with me. Being a registered sex offender is very hard and difficult because people have so many negative thoughts about that. They think automatically, and I've said this numerous times, automatically when you say sex offender, people think of child molester. Automatically, and I see so many BS garbage things on Facebook. Well, a pedophile, the only way to take care of him is a gunshot or an electrocution or whatever. Child molester, sex offender, all that kind of, all rolled into one. It's like, no. Number one, who gives you the right to judge anybody? Number two, people can change. Now, I'm not saying that you can necessarily change who you're attracted to. That's, unfortunately, that's something that needs to be dealt with in a psychotherapy session. If you're attracted to children, first of all, it's disgusting. But number two, get help. Don't be ashamed, because here's the deal. So many people worry about, the temptation, the attraction being the crime. No, even no matter how wrong it is, it's not the attraction, it's the crime. Our service yesterday at the Greater Hartford Church of Christ, all right, our awesome lead evangelist, Joe Filippo, he talked about temptation and how temptation is not the sin. Well, it's the same thing. The attraction is not the crime. It's if you act on it. Just like, the temptation is not a sin, it's if you act on it. So the fact of the matter is, if you are dealing, and here's, I guess it's an appeal to anybody out there who might be feeling off. And what do I mean by off? Well, I mean that if you're feeling like you're attracted to someone you shouldn't be, whether it's children, whether it's dogs, animals, or whatever. I mean, there's so much stuff out there. You could be attracted to just about anything. Get help. If you think it's wrong, chances are, number one, you're not the only person out there. Number two, get help. Get professional help. Start by talking to a counselor. And granted, and I'll be the first one to admit, it takes a long time to build up trust in some people, especially when you've had so much stuff done to you. It takes a long time to build up trust. So, a therapist is not necessarily, going to be an easy task because you're technically talking to a stranger. But here's the deal. Number one, there's a confidentiality policy that everybody has to, unless you've actually done something to a child or done something, that's illegal, I don't think that they could tell, anything that's illegal. But I mean, if it's for the welfare, endangering the welfare of a child, then, you're opening a big can of worms. But the fact is, if you feel like you're attracted to something you shouldn't, or somebody you shouldn't, or whatever, and I'm not talking homosexual. I'm not talking same-sex. I'll get into that in a little bit. But if you are feeling like you're attracted to children, or if, you have a drug problem or an alcohol problem, and those, things make you do things that you definitely regret, get help. That's the only thing I say is get help. I mean, I'm always here. You want to email me, sportswire at swe-ct.com, and definitely allow me to help you. Whether it's finding the right person to talk to, the right therapist, the right counselor, or even if you just need a venting post. Men, women, it doesn't matter. If you need the help, I will help you. I may not be qualified or certified to be a therapist or anything, but if you need someone to talk to, well, I have an ear. I have a couple of ears, and I can listen. Believe me, I've heard many things from many people about many topics. And you know what? Number one, it all goes with me to the grave. And number two, it's just nice being able to serve others and help them. That's the kind of love I'm talking about. Okay? So definitely love other people. Love, if you've burned bridges in the past, and I know I have, and I'm trying to work on it. I've sent out olive branches to people, just saying, even this past, Christmas, like I saw people who normally I wouldn't converse with because they don't want to have anything to do with me, and I said Merry Christmas. Just just Merry Christmas, and a compliment. It just goes to show how much of a bigger person you want to be. All right. With that being said, speaking of love, of course, this is not going to be the right kind of love that I'm talking about, but I'm going to go to our first song of the day, our second song of the day. Justin Calio, here you go with Love You Tonight, right here on the Sportswire.
Straight
I wanna lay you, baby, so can I lay you tonight? I'm like no other, baby, let's have a hell of a night. Alright. Place on above you, but baby, I'm not a settling tight. So sorry, baby, I can't lay you for life. Let's go.
Say you wanna roll with me, then let's go. But baby, don't fall for me, cause I'll go.
Stop with the melodrama. I mean, excuse me, mama. You want the finer things, then Dolce and Gabbana, the Louis out of Prada. I think I buy you nada. See me, I beat it up, press release and pop my collar. She hoping I'm a caller. I hope it's not a problem. Don't need no issues with you catching feelings, causing drama. I handle my business with precision and marijuana. No time for superficials. Need no more baby mamas. I'm just saying, baby, I like it just the way it is. I'm talking cut friends. I seek one to cut away. See, we can touch a bit and afterwards I gotta split. I'm just telling it like it is. This is real as it gets, yeah. I wanna lay you, baby, so can I lay you tonight? I'm like no other, baby, let's have a hell of a night. Alright. Place on above you, but baby, I'm not a settling tight. So sorry, baby, I can't lay you for life. Let's go.
Say you wanna roll with me, then let's go. But baby, don't fall for me, cause I'll go.
Excuse me, miss, I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm sorry for misking something, for making something from nothing. It wasn't, or really was it? Was blinded by the assumptions, was trying to be triumphant, was ready for the becoming. I know, it's not improbable. Any obstacles optional, making possible. We the people unstoppable. Is it logical that we can last until the end of time? I'm focused on my grind, never mind, I must decline. I wanna lay you, baby, so can I lay you tonight? I'm like no other, baby, let's have a hell of a night. Alright. Place on above you, but baby, I'm not a settling tight. So sorry, baby, I can't lay you for life. Let's go.
Say you wanna roll with me, then let's go. But baby, don't fall for me, cause I'll go.
I wanna lay you, baby, so can I lay you tonight? I'm like no other, baby, let's have a hell of a night. Alright. Place on above you, but baby, I'm not a settling tight. So sorry, baby, I can't lay you for life. Let's go.
All right, and that was Justin Calio with "Love You Tonight," right here on the Sportswire. And I was actually supposed to go to a promo afterwards, and I just totally forgot about it. I was actually trying to listen to a voicemail But anywho, let me play that promo now.
This is Baby Doll from WSLA 1560 AM's The Sports Guru Show, and you're listening to Sportswire. It's the hottest sports show in entertainment.
All right, so there we go. There's the promo. All right, so as I was saying, so we got to that song, we got to all that. As I was saying, if you need help, go get help. And I mentioned that same-sex attraction, that's always a touchy subject. Let me put it to you this way. The way I said that love is my theme for 2016. It's also about loving people who have different lifestyle choices than me. I know that. Let me put it this way. I know that people get all uptight around. There's one of two ways. People get all uptight talking about same-sex relationships. Either you're of the notion of no, it shouldn't be allowed, or whatever, or you're of the notion of, you know what, let people love who they love. It's taken me a long time. First of all, in the Bible, God is an aberration. That's why Sodom and Gomorrah were wiped off the map, because they were having sexual relations with the same sex. Of course, that was, 10,000 years ago. First, here's the thing. The way I see things is, and I've said this numerous times, God made us as humans in His image. Now, of course, you're thinking, well, all of us look so different, we think differently and everything. How is that possible? We don't know. Quite honestly, it all comes back to your faith. And here's the deal. Whether or not you believe in the Bible, okay, you have to know that, or should I say, whether or not you follow God or not, you have to agree with this. Okay, you have to agree that everybody was made differently. Inside, outside, brain-wise, mental-wise, emotional-wise, physically, everybody was made differently. So it's, when they say God broke the mold when they made you, it's true. Even if you have an identical twin out there, you still have a different emotional and mental makeup. You may look exactly like physically, but whatever. The thing is, the way I see things, okay, God will never tempt us or challenge us. It's Satan. Okay? We're just putting it out there. God may test us and test our faith. That's a different story. Or God will allow Satan to, whatever you want to call it. Here's the thing. I personally will never be in a homosexual relationship because I'm not attracted to the same sex. Okay? That's end of discussion. Do I have a problem personally with people who choose to be with the same sex? Absolutely not. Because whether or not it was, they were hurt by somebody opposite sex and just decided to go with the same sex, or if they were just born that way. There are people that were just born that way. That they're attracted to the same sex. Or, on the flip side, there are people born that are attracted to the opposite sex, but feel like the opposite sex, which is why we have transgenders now. Which has been going around, which has been around for years, but now it's just finally getting into the spotlight along with the whole LGBT movement. Here's the deal. If you have to feel, there's a saying in the Christian church, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And in my opinion, that's not how life should be. It's really not. Why should you have to live your life uncomfortable or miserable? We're going to be here, granted our bodies are not built for, eternal life, You get eternal life in heaven. But if you could, here's my take on Christianity. And you know what? This may cause a riot, cause chaos. I don't care. It'll actually cause conversation. Okay? Here's my take on it. I love God. I chose to follow Jesus. I chose to accept Jesus Christ as my Savior, and was baptized into Christ on October 30th of 2011. Okay? Now, with that being said, I would never want to be in a life that's not full of love. Because if you're miserable because you're in a marriage with somebody of the opposite sex, but you're not attracted to them, obviously you took your vows, you took your, and I'm not trying to say that it's easy at all, okay? But why should you live like that? Okay, obviously there's too much divorce, and here's the thing, and this is one thing I have to point out. I've noticed in our Christian church, okay, which is completely by the Bible, okay, you can't even hold hands until you officially start dating. You can't be intimate or live together until you get married, okay? That's in the Bible. I understand that. However, I've also seen people go from being single to married within a year. Dating, engagement, all so quickly. Why? Because they want to get laid. Simple as that. They want to get... Now, I'm not saying they don't love the person they're with. That's not what I'm saying at all. But they want to be physical. Every human has needs. We were created to have sexual relations, to procreate. Okay? Why should it be that you have to wait till you get married to do it? Because you get to the point where, there are people that either are not financially set to be married, want to focus on their career, but want to have a child. It's like, how do you rectify that in the Catholic religion, in the Christian religion? You don't. It's black and white, cut and dry. But there's so many shades of gray in life. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out and be a whore or be a prostitute or a gigolo, or I don't even know if they use that word anymore, or just sleep around. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But if you're in a committed, loving relationship, okay, number one, I truly, honestly feel that two people should live together before getting married. I have always thought that way, because you have to figure out how you could coexist together. If you don't live together before marriage, and you're just thrown into a house or an apartment, you could be at each other's throats because you've never gotten the opportunity to feel each other out. And your honeymoon phase of your marriage is not that, it's to be happy. It's to enjoy your marriage. It's to enjoy your wedding and everything. But when it comes down to living together, I'm sorry, but I just feel like it's okay. It's a necessity nowadays. Absolutely, everybody's got different schedules, and it's a necessity. In terms of it's the same thing, sexual compatibility. I honestly feel that way, and that may put me at odds with my church, but that's fine. I mean, I can't... Number one, somebody once told me that organized religion, is meant to control people. I don't necessarily feel as if it's controlled, but I think it's outdated. Okay? Now, the Bible has never changed in, let's say 2,000 years since it was published, so to speak. I honestly feel that evolution has to take place. Okay, we as people evolve. You don't think that God evolves too? I mean, granted, God is omnipotent and omnipresent, and He's always around. He was there at the beginning, the middle. He'll be there at the end. You don't think that He sees? He's allowed evolution. If not, we would all be cavemen living in caves with the dinosaurs running around. Obviously, God has allowed evolution. Okay, and that's where there's such a disconnect between science and religion. Okay? You know, and I know it's 45 minutes into the show. We haven't talked anything about sports, being the Sportswire, but you know what? This is something that we need to talk about. Okay? People need to start conversing, having conversations about this kind of stuff. Okay? Not arguments, not debates, but conversations. Okay? I truly feel that God has allowed evolution, and and that's all there is to it. God has allowed us to evolve, but yet there's so many people that want to live like the first century. You know, you can't. I'm not saying that, you know, you have to live your life on a computer or live your life on, you know, on dating websites or anything. No. That's not what I'm saying. But if you meet someone and you fall in love and you want to get married and you want to be together, go right ahead. If you want to live together for, you know, different purposes because you can't for whatever reason, I say, you know, as long as it's not illegal, go ahead. Go ahead. All right. So we're going to get to our next song. I promise you we'll get to some sports at some point in the show. Probably right after the next song. So right now, on the Sportswire, we're going to be playing a cover by Second Skin. Okay? It's called Land Down Under. Right here on the Sportswire.
Trailhead full of zombie. I met a strange lady. She made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. She said, "Oh, I come from a land down under, where women glowing and plunder. Get your hear the thunder. You better run, you better take cover." I said, "Do you speak of my language?" Well, he just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich. She said, "Oh, I come from a land down under, where women glowing and plunder. Get your hear the thunder. You better run, you better take cover. Not much to say. I said to the man who tried to tempt me, because I come from the land of plenty. And she said, "Oh, I come from the land down under, where women glowing and plunder. Get your hear the thunder. You better run, you better take cover.
All right, and that was Land Down Under by Second Skin right here on the Sportswire. Definitely a great local band. Check them out. They are on Facebook. Second Skin, SEKONDSKYN. Okay. So with that being said, what the heck? You go there. Okay. I don't like when my mouse starts to screw up. Oh, come on. There you are. Okay. You go there. Alright. Here we go. So, moving on to NFL. Yes, 50 minutes in, we're finally into the sports, right? On the Sportswire. Alright, so we're going to NFL just covering week 16 for a minute. In the Monday night game, it was Bengals and Broncos, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. Yeah, Bengals and Broncos on Monday night, and it was Broncos winning 20-17. So I ran down everything last week about that, except for the Monday night game. Actually, no, sorry, in week 15. All right, well, we finally have the playoffs down pat. Okay, we finally have the playoffs down pat. Tonight is Monday night. There is no Monday night game tonight, I believe, because, well, quite honestly, I don't see one. So let's. It was a really good NFL season this year. Antonio Brown from the Steelers got the record for having at least 125 catches in 2 consecutive seasons. Never been done before. All right, so let's go over the playoff picture. I'm not going to go over the standings because, well, we don't really care. All right, so in the AFC, number 1 seed with home field advantage all throughout the playoffs is actually the Denver Broncos at 12-4. The New England Patriots are also in 12-4. They got home field for the first 2 rounds. They got the bye, obviously, in the first week. So they're number 2 seed. Number 3 seed is Cincinnati. They will host Pittsburgh, who just about squeaked in at the 6th seed. Then you have Houston as the 4th seed because they won the division at 9-7 against Kansas City, which is the 5th seed. Houston obviously at home. Now, if Pittsburgh wins against Cincinnati, they will automatically go to play Denver. If Cincinnati wins, they'll play New England, and then the winner of the Houston and Kansas City game gets the other team. In the NFC, Carolina Panthers at 15-1 get home field advantage throughout. Okay, number 2 seed the Arizona Cardinals 13-3. The wild card games, Minnesota will host Seattle, and Washington will play Green Bay. Washington will host Green Bay. Washington went to 9-7 as well. If Seattle beats Minnesota, they will go on to play Carolina. If Minnesota beats Seattle, they will go on to play Arizona. And then the winner of Washington versus Green Bay gets the other team. All right, so that's your NFL playoff picture. The playoffs do start this week, this coming weekend. So we'll keep you posted on all of that. All right, going over to the WWE. Now, 2015 was another up and down year for the WWE, in which Vince McMahon had been accused of falling out of touch with reality, or falling out of touch with what the audience wanted. And it's unfortunate. Look at January in the Royal Rumble. They had Roman Reigns win. He was booed out of the building because too many people were under the hypnosis of Daniel Bryan. Okay? Because Daniel Bryan got ousted early, so nobody wanted to see anybody other than Daniel Bryan win. I don't know why. Okay? I don't like the guy, so I can't comment. I'm happy that Roman Reigns won. And then they said they can't have a champion who's not over, whether it's a heel or a face. So they had Seth Rollins with the Audible come in and cash the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, create a WrestleMania moment. Now, due to the feud with Bray Wyatt, okay, and the Wyatt family this past summer, Roman Reigns' stock went through the roof, okay, to the point where the fact that he won the tournament in SummerSlam and then, again, Sheamus came out and cashed the Money in the Bank, you know, I think he's probably the first person in history that got cashed in twice on and got pinned twice for the title. Could be. I don't know. I have to look into that. But, no, maybe Cena. Cena was, well, either way. But, you know, it's simple as this. Okay? Roman Reigns still wasn't over by November. Alright, I apologize, people. Roman Reigns still wasn't over in November, which is why they had Sheamus do what he did. But it helped to kind of gain empathy or sympathy for Roman Reigns, to the point where TLC, they had to screw Reigns over. They had to. So, they did. They screwed Reigns over, had Sheamus win the title, and then Reigns lost it and started beating up on Triple H. That was the turning point for Roman Reigns, because it brought that spark of attitude that we've been waiting for. Okay? Roman Reigns is a great talent. He's got the wrestling. He could do better with charisma-wise, but he's got the wrestling. He's got the brute power, the look, the strength. You know, he just had to have it all together and let it unleash, and that's what they did. Kudos to the WWE for doing that. And then the next night on Raw, having Roman Reigns defeat Sheamus and Superman punch Vince McMahon on top of it. Awesome. And that's the kind of spark they needed. Now they have to keep going with it. And my suggestion is put more attitude into your television. Get rid of the PG rating, because people are getting tired of it. But, you know, so you need the, you know, you need the snapping. You need the shock TV. You know, NXT is a good example of that. Okay, we're gonna get to our next song of the day. It's "Do You Remember" by Twins and White Peas, our buddy, right here on the Sportswire.
This one's dedicated to the one I still remember. Do you? They say it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. Do you remember? All of the kisses, the hugs, the moments that we were totally intoxicated with love. Do you remember? The memories, have you forgotten all of them that easily? I'm sitting here stuck, looking out the window at the rain come and go, the days come and go, the pain come and go, the memories of us that I just can't let go. The moment that we met, our eyes lined up, spying deep inside each other's souls. We both knew from the go we had to grab a hold of this train ride. It started like a roller coaster, now like a children's track, we moving slower. Hollering and screaming, fighting and believing the best we had already achieved. I believe the moment that we accepted defeat came when we stopped fiending for each other, stopped being there for each other. But there is no other that I would have ever put before you. It's just that the proof I had for you wasn't the truth for you. Now I'm sitting here so shattered, feeling like a fool. Does it even matter? Do you remember? Kisses, the hugs, the moments that we were totally intoxicated with love. Do you remember? All of the promises, the memories, have you forgotten all of them that easily?
Too many opportunities to recover from the troubles we were dealt, but not enough energy or health to continue to fight the blows being thrown just below the belt. We use words to cut deep like a ginsu. With issues remaining, we never talked and or rearranged behaviors and or actions. I'm thinking back to when I was backtracking, being attacked by your friends, haters, and pretends. Who was there with a shoulder to lend? Who held your hand when the last man left you stranded? Who took you from misery to happiness by being the friend that made you mad at? Snowball fights in a snowstorm, candles lit, formed in a heart with warm oil to start the massage, a collage of pictures, prayers uttered together, filled with wishes. Our best intentions never made it to reality. It's a sad reality, thinking of it really. Do you remember? All of the kisses, the hugs, the moments that we were totally intoxicated with love. Do you remember?
All right. So, that was, again, I forgot to play the promo.
Hey guys, Vanessa here from Pose. Are you tired of listening to the same old stations? Are you ready for a change? Well, there's something new coming your way. Fat Cat Radio, hosted by Twism White Peas. Listen to what you've been missing.
All right, and that was our buddy Twism White Peace, who is also our, a great DJ, great pal of mine. He's kind of took over as a director of operations when Big Lou passed there at Fat Cat Radio. Definitely an awesome guy. An awesome dad as well. He always talks about, his wife and 5 kids and, how, they come first. That's how it should be. And, I don't know what his religious background is. I would assume Catholic or Christian or something like that. But that's the way it is. Too many... And here's the thing. Is like I see all these hip-hop artists out there. And rappers and stuff. Which is why I don't listen to rap music. Other than, decent, clean stuff. There's so many that want to give God the glory, but then they'll freaking swear all the time in their music. And talk about sex and drugs and everything. And not that I, condone, not that I'm kind of coming off as a self-righteous, uptight person. I don't get offended easily at all. Because, well, quite honestly, I just don't. Things just go off my back. There's no reason to get offended by stupid crap. But, if you're talking about killing people and sex and this and that, then, well, you're right. I was talking about sex earlier, too. But not drug use or anything. But, you're talking about gang wars and you're rapping about gang wars or killing. And I'm not saying he is. Don't get me wrong. Okay? I don't know enough of his music to say that's what he's... So I'm just saying. Okay? You hear guys like Lil Wayne and all those other rappers and hip-hop artists out there that, say they love God, but then they're out doing drugs and they're out, living a promiscuous lifestyle and, and then they're part of gangs and killing people. That's why I don't listen to it. That's why I listen to a lot of country or rock and roll, because they don't hide who they really are, But so that's that. All right, so we've been doing this for an hour. I could probably keep going on, but I'm going to actually say this. We're going to get to our final segment of the day, okay? And that means it is our Dumb Laws of the Day, courtesy of dumblaws.com. And we're going to Nebraska today, which is obviously a state in the Union. All right, so here we go. And the reason why I say we're going to do it now is because, well, I don't want to keep causing to yawn, quite honestly. Okay, and it's not that I'm putting myself to sleep, it's that I didn't get enough sleep last night. That's my own fault. Anyways, here we go. Dumb laws in Nebraska. Drivers on mountains should drive with caution near the right-hand edge of the highway. The problem with that, which it sounds legit, the problem with that, there are no mountains in Nebraska. Persons with gonorrhea may not marry, That's kind of discriminatory, don't you think? It is illegal to fly a plane while drunk. Well, no kidding. If a this one got me. If a child burps during church, not farts, but burps during church, his parent may be arrested. Ha! It is illegal to go whale fishing in Nebraska. I didn't think they had whales in Nebraska. It is illegal for bar owners to sell beer unless they are simultaneously brewing a kettle of soup. You want to go have a bottle of sauce? Make sure they're brewing soup. It is illegal for a mother to give her daughter a perm without a state license. That is just absolutely horrible. Okay? City laws in Nebraska. In Lehigh, donut holes may not be sold. Well, there goes Dunkin' Donuts Munchkins. In Omaha, sneezing or burping is illegal during a church service, but it's okay to fart. So in that saying, it'll go over like a fart in church. Now you should actually say it'll go over like a burp in church. Also in Omaha, a man is not allowed to run around with a shaved chest. Okay. If the guy's wearing a shirt, how would you know? Really? In Waterloo, barbers are forbidden from eating onions between 7 a.m. I'm assuming 7 a.m., 5 p.m. I don't know. Probably because they're talking right at somebody, breath-wise, whatever. All right, folks, I want to thank you for listening. It's been a little shorter of a show today, just simply because of the timing and just everything that's been going on this weekend or the past couple weeks. Here's the deal. I want to say this. I love all of you out there. I love my fans, my listeners, the Vinistry. You guys are just absolutely awesome. All right. I truly feel blessed and grateful and thankful for having the opportunity to come on here twice a week and really share my heart. Because if you haven't noticed, the Sportswire is not just about sports. If you've been living under a rock for the past year and you haven't listened to the Sportswire yet, you should know by now the Sportswire is not just about sports. Which I was actually toying with the idea of changing the name, but that'll come later on. So I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for our great sponsor. Just absolutely enjoying myself now, and I absolutely love it. So I thank you for listening. I thank you for everything, just everything to help me out, help us out, and just to listening to us, because it's just absolutely fantastic. All right, let's go to God in prayer. We'll end this show on a positive note. Father God, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to the people out there, and I pray that, I may have skewed views on things, but I definitely want to pray for just being able to guide people in the right direction, and to not necessarily take my word for it, but to research you and research your word and get into the Bible, Father. I thank you for everything you do on a daily basis for me, just absolutely everything. And I ask all this through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, folks, have a great week. We'll be back on Thursday right here on the Sportswire.